Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to take a close look of the new look N6620, which is a wrap top pattern that I recently made. I made 4 different variations of this pattern using different types of fabrics. So stay tuned. I'll talk more about the fabrics. I'll talk about the adjustments I've made and my experience with the garments that I've made. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the features of the pattern, and then I'll show you some images and some clips of me wearing my garment so you can see the different garments I've made and how they look on me. So this pattern is a pattern that come in US sizes extra small to extra large, and I'll make sure that I include all the finished garment measurements in this video so you can see which each size correspond to in terms of sizes. So you have 3 different variations of this wrap top. You have view A, which is a long sleeve, and it has a little bit of a bell at the end of the sleeve. And so it's more of a 3/4 sleeve, not a long sleeve, and it has a little bit of a bell on the sleeve. And then your back is a little bit open because the wrap goes at the back of the garment. And I'll tell you more about how deep it is and all of that. So the ties for the garment, you start the ties off in the back, and then you bring them towards the front. And so you have that tie detail that's in the front. For view B, you have a shorter cap sleeve. And for view C, you have the option of doing no sleeve. There are no differences, but there are no differences between A, B, and C in terms of the body of the garment. It's just you're getting different sleeve variations. So view C on the cover of the envelope, it's showing that you can use the wrap for the front instead of the back. And that's what I did for all my versions, and I'll show you how those turned out. So in terms of the finished garment measurements for an extra small, that's 35 inches for the bust. For a small, it's 37.5 inches for the bust. For a medium, it's 41.5 inches for the bust. For the large, it's 45.5 inches for the bust. And for an extra large, it's 49.5 inches for the bust. In terms of fabric suggestions, the fabric suggestions are chambray, cotton lawn, cotton type fabrics, interlock, ITY knits, jersey, lightweight, linen type fabrics. So I chose a combination of knit fabrics, and I also chose a stretch chiffon fabric, which the stretch chiffon fabrics at Joann, which is where I purchased this piece from, they don't have a ton of stretch in them. However, they do have some give. So I decided to go with a stretch chiffon fabric, even though the stretch chiffon fabric is not listed on the envelope, but stretch chiffon usually falls in between a stretch fabric or a knit type fabric, maybe your jerseys, and also your cotton lawns. And so since the stretch chiffon kind of falls in between those 2 categories, I decided to go ahead and go with that because I thought it would be okay. So I will say from the outset, if you want to choose a non-stretch woven fabric, you might need to go a size up. So and this is just based on my experience with the size medium that I chose for my knit fabric and also for my stretch chiffon fabric. So for the knit garments, the first 2 that I made was out of these animal print fabrics. So the first animal print fabric is a double brush knit. I purchased that from Joann Fabrics some years ago. I had a remnant in my stash, and I decided to use that as the mock-up. Turned out really lovely. I didn't do any adjustments on that particular piece because I wanted to see where the garment would fit, on me, especially in the bust, because I wanted to use the wrap part of the garment in the front instead of the back as it is shown on the model. And so for that one, as you can see, I do have a little bit of cleavage showing. And so I decided I wanted to add a 1/2 inch to the fullest part of the bust area so that I can actually cover it up a little bit more. And so after I did that, my second version that I chose is of the lighter animal print. It's the black, white, and I think it's like a rustic orange color. And I really love that one. It's one of my favorite ones out of this whole collection. And I'm just really excited how that one turned out. I like the adjustment to the neckline, although it doesn't completely cover my bust. I'm not mad about it at all. It turned out really lovely and I really love it. I didn't do any alterations to the sleeve of those two garments because I figured I did take the measurement on the tissue paper because they don't have the finished measurements for the bicep listed, but I did take that measurement on the tissue paper. And after I took the measurement, I thought, well, since most knit fabrics have, when you sew them up, it's going to be some negative ease, I figured I should be able to fit the garment without doing any bicep adjustments, and I was right. So for those two versions, for the first animal print version, which was the mock-up, and then the second one, I didn't do any adjustments to the sleeve pattern. I just made a slight adjustment to the neckline for the second version. And like I said, I really love the way that it turned out. For both of those, I chose the size medium, which is the 41.5 inches for the bust. Now, the reason why I chose that size is because I was a little bit wary because the double brush knit as well as that second knit is almost like a double brush knit as well, but it's more of a rayon. Both of those doesn't have as much stretch. And so I thought, to be on the safe side, I'm going to go ahead and choose the medium, even though my bust measure at a 39. And I'm so glad that I did. It doesn't seem as though the measurements are spot on. So I would be careful with that because like I said, my bust with my bra on measures at a 39 and I chose the 41, and with negative ease, I should have been able to probably choose the size small, which is the 37.5 for the bust. But anyway, I chose the size medium. I love the way that it fits, and I'm really happy with those two garments. The third garment that I made with it is a Liverpool knit. And as you know, Liverpool knits don't have as much stretch as the double brush knit and the jersey knits. And so I thought, I don't know if I should choose this medium. I don't know if I should go up because going up a size to the large was a 45.5 inches. So that was quite drastic. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and try it. Although the body of the garment fits perfectly, the sleeve could use a bicep adjustment for the Liverpool version. I feel like there's some tucks and some folds and some pulls in the sleeve area of that garment, just simply because the sleeve just doesn't fit as good. And I think that's because the Liverpool knit doesn't have as much stretch as the previous versions that I have made. So with that in mind, I decided, okay, my final version, I want to make a really cool, more of a drapier look for this particular garment. And I decided to go with this stretch woven. I didn't want to try any cotton fabric. So again, the suggestions are chambray, cotton lawns, and cotton type fabrics. I didn't really want to choose any of those fabrics because I knew I would have to go up a size and redraft the whole pattern to see where the neckline would fit and if the fullest part of my bust would be covered. So I decided to stick with my original adjustments that I've made to the pattern. And I also included a bicep adjustment. So with the bicep adjustment, I added 3 inches so that it can give me a nice voluminous sleeve at the bottom, almost like a bishop sleeve, because I wanted to add an elastic at the hem of the sleeve. But I also wanted to have room for wearing ease for my sleeve, and I knew it would not fit comfortably after making the Liverpool version. I knew that the stretch woven chiffon would not fit comfortably if I wanted to have a longer sleeve. So I decided to just go ahead and add that 3 inches of room for the bicep, as well as to get a nice little bishop sleeve at the end of the sleeve. I also added a 1.5 inch length to the sleeve as well, so that I can actually include a 1 inch hem encasing for my elastic. So I have a 1 inch elastic band inside of the hem there. So overall, I really love this pattern. I think it's fun and easy. If you're looking for a pattern that's going to give you full coverage, I would say this is not the pattern. You will have to either add a 1/2 inch or even maybe 3/4 of an inch to the fullest part of the bust area on the pattern if you want to have a more coverage. But even with that adjustment, I had a 1/2 inch adjustment with my chiffon version of it, you can still see some cleavage, and that's why I have a camisole on under here. That's why I have a camisole on, because you can still see some of my cleavage. So if you're someone who you don't want to have any cleavage showing, you might have to do a serious adjustment to the fullest part of the bust, or you might have to wear a camisole underneath of it. In terms of wearing this particular garment and the others to the back, facing the back, it's not a huge deep V in the back, which I really love. And it's really fun. It's simple and easy. You can wear this top with the V to the front or to the back, which would be really nice. The instructions tell you to sew it so that it's to the front. And so you just have to make sure that you follow the instructions carefully, because you will get tripped up on those notches. Because remember, on the sleeve, 1 notch means the front, 2 notches generally means the back. And so if you want to change the garment so that the front is the back and the back is the front, just be careful of how you sew your garment together. In terms of stitching the garment in place around the neckline, basically you're just flipping your raw edges inward, so you can do a double fold, or you can serge the edge of your garment and then flip that serged edge on the inside and then stitch it down. I did both methods. On a couple of versions, I did a double fold, and then on other versions, I just serged the edge and then flipped it inward. It just depended on how stable the fabric was. And then for the neckline and the back, like, there are no facings or anything like that. And so you're doing the same thing for the back neckline as well. You're either doing a double fold inside the garment and then stitching it in place, or you're just serging the edge and flipping it in and stitching your garment down. So it's not that hard at all. You do have on the left side of the body, there is an opening that you have to leave open on the side seam so that you can feed your ties through the side seam and tie your ties. So it's really fun. Like I said, it's a fun garment. I really like the outcome of it. I like the versatility. I like that you can use this pattern for different types of fabrics. However, like I said, if you go with the woven fabric, you may need to go a size up. So if your finished garment bust measurements are 41, I would say go up to the 45, or either grade in between the 41 and the 45, so that way you'll have some wearing ease. So again, very fun pattern, and I do recommend it. But for those of you who want to cover the fullest part of your breast, just make sure that you go into the project knowing you may need to do some adjustments to the neckline so that you can get the coverage that you want. All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. And if this is your first time tuning into the channel, welcome to the channel. And if you would so kindly click the subscribe button if you find this content enjoyable. Again, thank you all, everyone, for supporting the channel and dropping in today. I hope you all have a happy and blessed sewing week. Bye.